Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Akato and I am so happy to be back with another video featuring this new Alex Syberia Designs release. I loved making this mini slimline card. It is the first card design I thought of when I saw these critter stamps and I love it. So this is the Underwater Wonders stamp set. Not all of the critters on my panel when I'm coloring are from this stamp set, just the mermaids and the fishes and sea creatures that I'm using. I stamped all of the critters that I was going to use for this release all at once with Memento Tuxedo Black ink using my Misti. It's just because I had to be very efficient for this release because I wanted to make so many cards. I am cutting out all of the coloring that I did for all of the other cards, but I will leave the beach themed cards linked down below because I have already posted that video. For the mermaids, that one is coming soon, so I'll keep you posted on that. Now I'm just going to color all of the underwater creatures with my Ohuhu markers. I am doing it all the same way except for the octopus. I am trying something new for the octopus. I didn't have a good medium shade for the coloring here. So I have a darker shade, I have a good medium shade that blends with the darkest color really well, but the step between the light shade and the medium shade is a lot too big. So what I'm doing here is a tip to tip method, and that's just you color some of your darker marker onto your lightest one, and that creates a in-between color that is really great for blending in between those markers. I've never done this before, I've never needed to do it before, but it worked really well. It took me a little bit to blend it out. This is sped up immensely, by the way. This is sped up to, I think, 10 times the speed I actually color. I enjoy just taking my time with coloring. You could absolutely do this quicker. But yeah, I take my time with it. I take a lot of time choosing which colors I use for each fish. But I just have fun with it while I'm listening to an audiobook. Now I should tell you, this is part of an Instagram hop. So there is a giveaway on Instagram, not on this video itself. So I will leave that link below. If you go over there and leave comments on each stop of the hop, each comment will count as a chance to win the full release bundle. You can win the entire release, and it's a good release, guys. There are so many gorgeous flowers in here and amazing background products as well. I haven't even used any of those on this card, but they are so fun. I have actually done a full release introduction video on this channel as well, so I will leave that link below too if you want to see the entire release. Now definitely go over to Instagram as well to see that giveaway. For the background, I am having a ton of fun with my distress spray stains. I have been loving these sprays since I got them for Christmas. They have been the best Christmas gifts I ever got, probably. They are so fun to use. There are also distress oxide sprays, and they do give a lot more texture. However, I personally don't love the chalky finish that distress oxide sprays and distress oxide inks give. So I much prefer this look, but they are available and they'll give you more of a textured look in your final product as well. But for the distress spray stains, you just get a watercolor look. To build up the color, I do like to work in layers, so all that means is that I just dry it in between with my heat tool. And once that color is set, it can be reactivated with water, but you can also build on it a little bit by just spraying the same color over and over again, or just adding darker shades on top. Now for that little sandbank that I am adding for my scene, just a little sandy bottom at the bottom of the ocean, I am just freehand cutting a hill shape out of a mini slimline size panel, just so I know that it's long enough, and just so I also know that it won't be too high for my scene, because I do want most of my distress spray stain background to show. You could also create this part with sprays, however, I prefer to ink blend this. I'll explain why in a little bit, but I also want to explain what I'm doing here. I just taped a piece of painter's tape down with the sticky side up on my ink blending mat, which is just a piece of laminated cardstock. And this is just going to keep that in place while I'm ink blending. I do this for everything. These days there are sticky mats available everywhere where you can do the same thing without wasting tape. But I think I'm gonna waste tape for a little while longer probably. Now I'm ink blending this because this sandbank is going to be in the foreground of my image. If I did this with sprays, it would look a lot busier, like my water background, and I don't want that. Because this is in the foreground, I'm very aware that it could distract from the critters if it's too busy. So I'm keeping things very smooth with the ink blending. There's not too much texture going on, and I like it that way. Now the spray background is going to stay, it's not going to stay wet. You're not going to feel that it's wet, but it is going to stain your hands for quite a while. You need to let this dry for at least 24 hours before you, or at least overnight, before you can touch it and not get away with blue fingers. So I always press this down when I'm adhering this because I can't wait to finish my cards for the next day. That is not something I'm capable of. So I don't have patience while card making. I don't let things dry properly. I just use a piece of scrap paper to press this in, and then I try not to touch it anymore. That doesn't always work. Sometimes I have smudges on my cards, but that's fine. I propped the sand up on some foam tape, and then I'm just arranging my critters. I'm not adhering anything down at this point, and this part definitely takes longer than actually gluing everything in place. But I want to make sure I like my scene before I start adhering things down. There are so many elements to fit on there. I also colored a bunch of seaweed and corals off screen to really add to the scene, and it was so fun to do. It's very relaxing to color the same image a couple of times, I think. I stamped each image for those scenic elements, 4 times, and then I just colored everything in and die cut it with the coordinating dies. The coordinating dies for Alex Syberia Designs, by the way, while I'm gluing things down, I do want to mention they are amazing. I think they really thought their coordinating dies through. You get them already cut apart, so you don't have to worry about going in with your snips. I always hate that part, especially for a stamp set like this, because there are so many dies and you don't want to cut them all apart. It's such a waste of time. So I'm very happy that they already come cut apart. And they also don't have a margin. I don't know how to explain this properly, but they don't have a margin inside the die. So the cut line is exactly where the die ends when you turn it over and try to line it up with your critters. When you see these dies, it's a lot easier to know what I mean. But it makes it a lot easier for me, at least, to line these coordinating dies up with the images. Now I used a couple of pieces of foam tape here and there to prop some things up and add some dimension to certain elements, while others are glued straight to the card. And that difference in dimension definitely adds a lot to the scene here. I'm also going to add a bunch of white gel pen details to bring these more to life. I've been trying to do this more because I always love it when other people do it. And once I start, I find it very difficult to stop. But for this card, I made a rule for myself. I only added white gel pen details to the critters and not to the plant life here, because I thought that would set them apart a little bit better. So this is the final card. My camera is a little bit overexposed here, but this picture is a little better. So I hope you like it. I had so much fun creating this mini slimline card. I really love putting tons of elements together to create a scene. It's always daunting when I'm starting the card, but I'm always so happy once I finish it. So I hope you like this card. I hope you check out the Instagram hop for a chance to win the full release bundle. It's a really good bundle, guys. You should really try to win it. And I hope you subscribe as well so I can see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.